Hey guys, so welcome back to another video. Look at this. I have a really cool intro for you guys. So what's going on, guys? It's Shay here. Today, guys, welcome back, guys, to another prop review. Today, guys, I'm going to be showing you guys the D-Smasher from Tokusou Sentai Dekaranger. Now, this is sadly only exclusive to Japan. There was never an American counterpart to this, nor was this ever adapted into, into SPD, which would have been cool to see, bars. But that would have been really cool to see like these weapons be adapted into, see what they could have done with this. So set that right back in my holster. Yes, I'm dressed up as my X-Decker character Shiro, but I was actually gonna play a part in this, but I'm actually saving this for a really special X-Decker case episode. So with that being said, let's begin. Yes, the D-Smasher. It took me a minute to make this. It took me about 3 days. It took me 3 days to get the actual prop. It took me 1 day to get the prop finalized. Then it took me maybe a few extra days, or maybe 2 extra days to get the prop painted up. Now, I have actually made an error with the prop because I've actually seen in certain shots that this is basically just has the exact same color scheme as the SP shooter. Because these pieces right here, like the top, the sides, right here where SPD, where it says that that's actually supposed to be white. Everything else, I even think the grips are supposed to be white, but I'm gonna keep them silver if I ever try to repaint this. Because I always make a mistake when it comes to like me making these types of props, because I don't have good reference photos, and I literally just got the reference photos today, like some of the better ones from like the movies that these appeared in, like Full Blast Action, the 10 Years After movie. Those are legitimately the only movies that the D-Smashers ever appeared in. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a history, and we might actually do a shooting test, because last time I did a prop review here, last time I did a prop review here, I had no weapon. Like there was no I had no reason to use a weapon, so doing it here. So yeah, we'll probably go out in the field and see what we can do. So first off, the D-Smashers is basically, I would say, the younger brother of the SP shooter, which is this right here. This is basically the younger brother of this. These are both really powerful guns. The SP shooter is already good enough, but a D-Smasher is even better, I would say, because these remind me of they freaking remind me of. So I said it a few days ago that the D-Smashers remind me of something, or a specific weapon. Yeah, now I remember what it is. It reminds me of the DC-17S sidearm blaster, and DC-15S sidearm blaster, which is a Star Wars gun. And it also reminds me of the it also reminds me of the commando pistol as well, which is basically just a DC-17 but with more recoil. Basically the original, the OG DC-17. And this is basically what it reminds me of. Like, it feels like I'm a clone trooper from like the Star Wars, Star Wars Battlefront, like the whatever the freaking games were called, where it had the Star Wars Republic Commando. That's the game where they actually had these guns, and they were like guns like this, and they were actually using them. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of action, and then okay, I'm skipping way too far. I'm way too excited to review this. So let's go ahead and skip to the people who own this weapon. Also, yes, I do have a barrel. I actually added that last second because I completely forgot there was actually something down here. I knew there was a barrel, but I didn't know there was like this little rectangular piece like the SP shooter had. The people who own this gun, or who mainly use it, are Marigold, which was basically the movie exclusive ranger to Dekarangers summer movie called Dekaranger the movie Full Blast Action, which was released in September 11, 2004. And it was also seen in the Dekarangers 10 Years After movie, used by Assam, Asiimov, and Mugi Grafton, and was also used by Chief Reidlich, which was basically the new Doggy Kruger of that movie until Doggy Kruger actually took his place back. So, yeah, because he freaking used it to kill Doggy Kruger. Actually, yeah, he technically did use the D-Smasher to kill Doggy Kruger. Assam, whatever you want to say. I was gonna say Assam and Mugi, they use these prominently as well. Funny enough, they actually have holsters for these guns. Details. So you have the wheel here, obviously, because it seems like with every single SPD sidearm, you always have to have the freaking wheel design. You have these pieces here, which I'm assuming is like a cooling feature for the D-Smasher. I don't know if this thing's a blaster. I don't know if it's a firearm, but as far as I know, it's a firearm. You have SPD right here. This was one of the hardest details for me to get, and just to prove how hard it was, the other side, I'm looking at it right now, the other side is not as good. Like, it's all the way back here, and it's not even anywhere close up to the front. Now, shining it in the sun, it looks pretty shiny. I think that's probably gonna go for any of my props I actually bring out here. And this is what it looks like on my left hand, and this is what it looks like on my right hand. Hope I'm not pointing this at anyone. But if you guys are wondering if this can fit in my holster, I'm gonna take this out, set it here. I'm gonna unbuckle my holster. This is gonna be really freaking hard to do. And what do you know? It fits in my freaking holster. It's a really long gun, but it fits in my holster, and I can't draw it. I have to I literally have to do this. Like if I'm like drawing like a gavel ball or something, I literally have to freaking open it up and pull my gun. Basically, if I wanted to draw this, I think they actually have to do this in the 10 Years After movie. They have to do this and then draw their guns, and then boom, 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 boom. So yeah, let me put my lovely SP shooter back in here. So that's really it for the D-Smasher. A cool gun, but has little screen time. I would have loved to see these things more in action. That would have been so nice. But freaking, you know, I'm assuming due to budget reasons that they weren't really able to film Deca Gold and like literally her transformed. Which I understand, you know, sometimes the freaking budget sometimes be going over for that movie because the movie was filmed in like 16:9 ratio. The full blast action movie, I mean. But yeah, dude, it would have been really cool to see these things more in action, but we mainly see them holstered and or even not even used at that. So yeah, D-Smasher for you right there. And I think there's very, very little information about what the D-Smasher is, or like, you know, like what it does or whatever. And it's basically just, it serves its purpose. It's a freaking gun. So yeah, let's move on to the field. I'm flying through this. Let's move on to the field to start the shooting test. Also, a little fun fact that I might have left out in the video was that the D-Smashers had only appeared in the movies of Dekaranger, and with that, it only appeared in 2 of them, being the Dekaranger Full Blacks action movie and the Dekaranger 10 Years After movie, where, as I said, were used by those 3 people that I was telling you about. Technically 4 people at the very beginning of the freaking video, so yeah. I'm sorry if I left that fact out in this video. I just want to let you guys know, like, you know, where it came from, or like how many times it appeared and never appeared in the show of Dekaranger. I don't think it ever appeared in any other movie outside of the Full Blast action movie or the 10 Years After movie. Just a little fun fact. Now let's move on to the shooting range. Alright, so we're out here now. I actually reviewed my footage of over there, like when I was actually reviewing the gun. I need to speak a little louder because the wind for some reason is blowing. Like, it's blowing fairly hard to the point where you guys can barely even hear me. It's like at times it sounds like my voice is fading out, and I hate when that happens. I hate it when it's windy, and I like it's like always on the days where I record, it somehow gets windy, and it wasn't even like this a few minutes ago. It's like when I come out, like the moment I come out here to record, it wants to start getting windy. But we're gonna forget about that. So I'm actually, I don't know which way I want to stand because I want the gun to be facing the camera like this. So we'll do that. So that being said, I'm going to use the same noise that I use for the SP shooter, which I think is the exact same noise, but in the 10 Years After movie, it's actually different. It's basically just the gun noise that you hear in the very, very opening of the show, like where it says Super Sentai series, they say, pew, like, you know what I mean. Like, for anyone seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. And I already got stuff peeling. Okay, anyways. Alright, so 3, 2, 1, go. Now, what I want to do is something really freaking cool. So what I want to do is I want to hold this in my right hand, draw this, put this in my non-dominant hand, and dual wield these boys. Let's do this. These things look really cool when they're used like this, because even though they're not the same gun, it's really cool dual wielding, or like wielding a small pistol and wielding a long pistol, I guess you could say. This also reminds me of the Automag, which is a real life pistol in real life, which shoots a whole bunch of cartridges that you don't normally see semi-auto guns or semi-auto pistols usually shoot. So anyways, with that all the way, here's my new addition to my SPD arsenal. Now, I wanted to say this while I was over there, but since I'm over here now, let's go ahead and say what I think these guns would be like if they were in SPD, Power Rangers SPD. The name I always had for these guns were the Delta Smashers, which would have probably been a perfect name for these guns. But I'm assuming they looked either too like I'm assuming they were either I don't know why these guns were never adapted into America, like the SP Shooter and the D Smasher. I don't know why they were never adapted into America. They would have been such a good freaking. These could have been like guns for like SPD engineers or something like that, because you know they have like the people who move stuff around or whatever at you know Space Patrol Delta and Power Rangers. But these would have been. I bet you 100% these would have been named the Delta Smashers. They're just perfect. Or they could have been a replacement for Jax's Delta Blasters, which were for the D Magnums and SPD on Dekaranger. But these would have been so cool. These would have been awesome actually if both of these were adapted. Like if the SP Shooter and the D Smashers were adapted into SPD, I would love to show even more, because I already love SPD and Dekaranger. I get the best of both worlds. One, SPD takes place in the future. Dekaranger takes place the year after its preceding Super Sentai. So yeah, dude, it would have been really nice to see these guns adapted into SPD. What would you guys would have, well, like, okay, so I have a question for you guys. What would you guys probably would have thought these guns would have been called if they were put in SPD? Like the SP Shooter and the D Smasher. I already said what I wanted the D Smasher to be named if it was adapted into SPD, the Delta Smasher, so no one can take my name. But the SP Shooter is kind of weird because it has the name Shooter in the name, and it's, you know, it's shaped like an average pistol, which it's not really a good thing in Power Rangers. You can't really have like guns in that, because you know in Dekaranger these are firearms. These aren't freaking like blasters like Star Wars always like, like freaking Power Rangers like to cover them up as. So yeah, that really does it for my prop review, guys. This is a fairly short prop review. I might get this out to you guys by tomorrow, or just to YouTube in general tomorrow. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.